We are less than a week away from the highly anticipated Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 release. Now, many of us have been waiting years to hop back in this game, and we'll finally have the chance to, but our experience in Verra probably won't be what we're expecting, and it's our fault for thinking that it will be.
Whoa, Q. Listen to me. How is it our fault when we haven't even played the game yet?
Well, there are a few reasons for it. Hear me out. Let me start off by saying that this is a great time for the Ashes of Creation community, and I really hope nothing takes away this moment from us. It's been more than 3 years since Alpha 1, and now the gates are finally opening up again to the masses. Regardless of the outcome, this is a great step in terms of progression as we move towards an actual release date for Ashes of Creation. Now, with that said, Steven has gone out of his way many a time to say that this is a true alpha.
It is work towards our alpha 2, which is a true alpha. We've talked about this in the past.
Well, what does this mean? Does it mean that there's going to be a ton of lag? Does it mean that we're going to be testing basic systems? Does it mean there isn't going to be much to do? I think it means all of that. If this wasn't an important point of contention, then we wouldn't see it as much as we do. Okay, why? I believe Steven wants to prepare everyone as much as possible before they're even allowed to enter into the world of Verra. This is why each live stream starts with,
everything you see is a work in progress. Ashes is a work in progress. To everyone in our audience, that everything you see here today is a work in progress.
And I think it's a way to mentally prepare people for the Alpha 2 actually being a test. In today's society, alphas aren't actually alphas anymore, and the people working at Intrepid know that. If they don't literally do everything in their power to let us know that we're going to be testing and playing a version of an unfinished game, then that's going to hurt them. But here's the thing, they're going to get hurt either way.
What do you mean by that?
I would go as far to say that the majority of people don't even believe or care about what was said about Alpha 2 releasing, because you know what? A great deal of people are eventually gonna get in on this game, play it, or rather test it, and then they'll say, this game is garbage, because it wasn't what they were expecting, and there are other situations where this is true as well. I made a point a few moments ago about the Alpha 2 not having much to do. We have to remember that this is also Phase 1 that we're going to be seeing on the weekends. If we look at what Phase 1 has to offer, we'll see that we can explore the Riverlands and Sand Squall Desert, build up a node and be a citizen of said node. We'll eventually have 3 different races to choose from at the start. We have 6 out of the 8 archetypes to choose from, PvP content, Carfin Dungeon, caravans, and more. All in all, this is a lot of content, but it's only a lot of content for a certain type of player. The people who are going to actually go super try hard in the alpha so they can learn as much as possible about the game and gear up for Phase 2. I think these people are going to have more than enough to do. Steven recently said in an interview that it takes about 100 hours just to reach level 25. These are crackhead numbers. Now, as an expert in this area, I can assure you that these are crackhead numbers. It's got an itch. I don't think anyone will be able to max every single archetype just in Phase 1, simply because we don't have the time. Weekend testing wouldn't allow for it, and we're not even accounting for wipes at the moment. Enough about the hardcore player base though, because we probably won't see as many of them as you think. Your average MMO player isn't going to play several different classes, in which it takes several hundred hours to have all of them reach level 25. Why does any of this matter? Well, let's go back to us not getting the experience that we want. I think this comes from us having unmet or unrealistic expectations when it comes to Ashes of Creation. It's easy to say that we'll all be grinding our lives away once the Alpha 2 opens, and I'm sure you guys hear this all of the time with your friends. But when the time actually comes, most people make excuses. When something isn't as you expected it to be, we usually end up having a negative outlook on it. But I believe in this case, Ashes of Creation has been super transparent with us in terms of the content that we're getting. So It's on us on how we'll take that content and what we do with it. I know that this is an alpha, but I think it proves my next point that much more. Drop off. Most people in the Ashes of Creation community keep up with Ashes of Creation more than your average player. But how many of you have said, I'll come back when, it gets good, when they start doing something good, Q, You people make me sick. You remind me of the people that they say they want to watch Naruto, but they want to skip the filler because it's too long. You have to be a man about this. You have to grind it all out. And that is my ninja way. All jokes aside, man, going back to my previous point, with this being phase 1, there more than likely won't be a ton to do. When new MMOs come out, they all go through some type of drop off, and I don't think Ashes is going to be any different, unless we all decide to start doing those crackhead numbers. Nah, look, I'm not saying do the crackhead numbers, because it led me down a dark road, but I mean, it's a fun time. It's a real fun time. Especially if they're going to be spent on Ashes. Now, I might have been doing the wrong Ashes, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. Drop off isn't a bad thing, since it happens to everyone. It's like aging, but I think it's about how you go along with your player base dropping off. I'm sure there are numbers that Intrepid wants to hit, but I'm also sure that they're expecting a drop off, especially since it's phase 1. Now again, since it's phase 1 and the game isn't complete, how many of you are going to pick up the game just to see what it's about and then dip off because you're not really feeling it at the moment? That's nothing against those people who are going to do that, because you shouldn't play something that you're not fully enjoying, but this reinforces my point of not having the experience you think you'll have in Verra. I'm not saying that you're going to hate everything about Ashes of Creation, but what I am saying is that I know the MMO genre has been waiting for a new MMO for years to devour, and Ashes of Creation happens to be next up on that list. We all have expectations that are derived from our previous times in other MMOs, so all that I'm saying is to manage your expectations. If we all go in with a positive mindset like, yo, I know I'm gonna be testing Ashes of Creation, and I know it's not a finished product, and they have a lot of work to do, and I might be expecting a lot from this specific game, but let me understand that this isn't the finished product, and we still have a ways to go. Then I think we'll be fine. Do I think we're gonna get that and you're gonna listen to me? Absolutely not. What we're gonna get is, okay, burn him, burn him, burn him, burn him, burn it. What are you? Kick this guy. Kick him. Yeah, ladies man 818, kick him. That's him. Hey, so he's under leveled. How did he? I can tell that you haven't spent several hundred hours getting your characters to level 25 in an alpha where they're gonna wipe the game. I can tell you haven't, and I know you're not dedicated. Do us all a favor. Pick up a drug habit. Cocaine, preferably. Nah, young man. I have you know, I might have dabbled, dibbled, even doobled a couple of times. And you know what? I'm gonna take you up on that recommendation on October 25th. Because Ashes of Creation is the only drug that I'm on. It started with APOC, then Alpha 1. I mean, what else could we be talking about here?